Hello, welcome. This video is about how to solve quadratic equations from factored form. This is at the proficient level, and this equation is not in factored form, so we have to factor it first. And so I might go here and just remember that I have ax squared plus bx plus c. And so my a is 2 and my c is 20. And so ac, or a times c, is 2 times 20, 40. And b is negative 13. And I'm going to go through and do this just kind of real quick and say, hey, what are the things that multiply to 40? 1 times 40, and 2 times 20, and 3 won't go into 40, so I'll go to 4 times 10, and 5 will go into 45 times 8. And then the only numbers between 5 and 8 are 6 and 7. Neither of them would go into 40, so that's it. Those are all of the factor pairs. So now I can say, well, those all multiply to 40, but none of those would add to negative number, a negative 13. So I'm going to make them all negative, 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 negative. And then I can see that the pair that adds to negative 13 would be negative 5 and negative 8. And those would add to negative 13. So then I can go over here and use the box, let's say, to factor this out. And I take my first term, 2x squared, and put it in my first box. My last term, 20, will go in my last box. And my middle term, negative 13x, I'm going to split between these two boxes here. So let's put this in here, 2x squared plus 20. And then how do I put minus 13x in the two box? This is where those numbers come into play. Negative 5 and negative 8 add to negative 13. So I'm going to put an x with them. Negative 5x and negative 8x add to negative 13x. And so now everything in that trinomial is now in the box, and I can factor it. So I factor using the greatest common factor for each row and each column. Or you can do it kind of like this, 2x squared and minus 8x. 2 will go into 8, so that's the greatest factor for the numbers, and they both have at least one x, so I'm going to put 2x. And then ask myself, what times 2x is 2x squared? X. And x times what would give me negative 5x? Negative 5. And negative 5 times what would give me a positive 20? Well, a negative times a negative is positive, and then 5 times 4 is 20. So that would be my two factors. And so then I can write this out. 2x minus 5 times x minus 4 equals 0. And now this equation right here is the same as this right here. It's just in factored form, because these factors multiply to give us that same as that trinomial. So now using the zero product property, ZPP, that means that if you've got A times B equals 0, that means that's only possible that A equals 0 or B equals 0. And so if this is my A and this is my B, then I can just say 2x minus 5 equals 0 or x minus 4 equals 0. And then I'll just solve this equation like we know how to do this. Minus 5, the opposite of subtract is add. So I'm going to add 5, and that cancels that. And then I get 2x then is equal to 0 plus 5, or 5. And then 2x is to multiply by 2, so I divide both sides by 2. And x then is equal to 5 halves. And over here, the opposite is a little simpler. The opposite of subtracting 4 would be add 4 to both sides of the equal sign. So plus 4 and plus 4, that cancels there and there. X then is equal to 4. And so my two solutions there, I would just put them together in this one set. This is the solution set. 5 halves is one of the solutions, and 4 is the other solution. And as always, you can check those by plugging them back in. If you put 5 halves and 4 both of those into x, one at a time, right? If I put 5 halves if I put 5 halves here and here for x and work through it, it should be equal to 0. Or if I put 4 in for x there and there, then that should equal 0.